Anza, what's one key takeaway or insight from your overall experience that you would like to share?
I have no idea. I think I've mentioned it before as well that just don't give up and keep trying. Trying to build on yourself as a person, trying to build
Mm,
your network, trying to stay connected back home as well. Don't, yeah, I just think that not giving up, and even if it's very difficult, eventually you will get through this. So
mm,
the third is tawakkul, that if you have
yes, yes,
tawakkul,
yes,
you will get
yes.
through it. And no matter where you are meant to be there. And the struggles that you've had or you are having, it's meant to get you somewhere better. So yeah.
Absolutely. I can't stress enough on the tawakkul part. So you and I, we have been in touch for quite some time, and you know about the struggles that I went through when finding a job, and I know about the struggle that you went through that you were finding a job. And I can promise you that it was so hard emotionally, physically, mentally, because you keep on questioning your abilities, you keep on questioning if you're good enough.
Yes.
Uh, there's never really a day off, even on your day offs, even when you're not officially working or studying, you're still trying to do something that could potentially improve your resume, that could improve your mental health, your physical health. Maybe every day you're just working on yourself.
Mm.
And tawakkul is one thing that really helps you go through all of this. Um, I mean, since we do have a lot of time, I would like to share. Uh, in last year, last Ramadan, uh, I went to Pakistan after almost 2 years, and before going to Pakistan, I was constantly applying for jobs. I was constantly trying to improve myself, and each and every time I would send an application, I would immediately get an unfortunately email. Like my inbox is full of unfortunately emails, and
You should just delete them and never keep them. They're just so depressing. Just delete them
this
right away.
they're so depressing. They actually came a point where I was like, you know what? Okay, unfortunately, though, aate hi rehta hai, it's fine. I don't really care about it anymore. It's a part of life now.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I just went to Pakistan for about 4 weeks, and I did zero networking. I met, I didn't meet a lot of people. I just slept the whole time.
Mm.
And I was just using that time to regain
Heal almost.
energy, to heal, because you really need to heal. Because this experience of not just a Pakistani, but any international student who moves
Yeah.
to any other country, it's a very grueling process.
Yeah.
And
It's taxing.
it is taxing. And just imagine that when you move to a new country, it's not just you competing with a bunch of other locals. You're competing with people from essentially all around the world. For the UK, education is one of the most important
Yeah.
exports. And there's a lot of people from all over the world coming to the UK. It's a small, tiny island. There's limited amount of jobs, and the competition on those small jobs is insane. And you need to heal. And you mentioned about therapy, and you mentioned about university well-being support. Uh, it is so important. People need to heal. I mean, it's very, very important. Recording in progress. Right. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Reconnecting Pakistan, an effort to bring you inspiring stories of Pakistanis who have moved abroad for education, career opportunities, and professional growth. In each episode, we try and explore the pathway these Pakistanis have chosen to move abroad, the challenges they face, and how they achieve success in their respective fields. If you are a Pakistani thinking of studying abroad or working abroad, I think this interview should be of great help for you. So today I have Anza Fatma with me. Anza Fatma is the Digital Marketing and Campaign Officer at University of Nottingham. Anza moved to England back in 2022 for a Masters of Science in Marketing from the University of Nottingham. Anza, Assalamu alaikum. Kaisi hain? How are you?
Hi, I am good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, not bad at all. Thank you for asking. So, Anza and I actually go a long way back. Anza and I used to work together back in 2020, 2021 in Pakistan. I used to be on the night shift, and Anza used to come in the mornings. And she was this one person who would always bring so much energy and positivity to the workplace
Oh,
with the laughter and the colorful attire. So, Anza, thank you so much for taking out the time and for doing this podcast with me on this particular topic. I'm going to jump straight to the questions. Anza, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your current role and where are you based in the UK?
so I think you've already mentioned, but I'm based in Nottingham. I am the Digital Marketing and Campaigns Officer at the University of Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
And to simplify it, it's just ad building, a lot of email sending to offer holders or potential people who would like to come to the university
Mm-hmm.
and aiding the student recruitment of the university. So, yeah.
Lovely, that's amazing. And Anza, what really motivated you to leave Pakistan and move abroad? Why
My
did that
mother kicked
happen?
me out of
Oh, okay.
her house and the country. Nothing motivated me. I was very demotivated. I didn't want to come here. So this is a different case study, and she was like,
Yeah.
"You need to get out." So I just had to leave. She was like, "Pakistan is not
Mm,
what it used to be, and there aren't enough opportunities. And if we think about our future, what are we gonna do? So it needs to be
mm,
very realistic, and you need to think about your future." So that's why
yeah.
I came to the UK.
Fair enough, understandable. I think kudos to your mom for doing that. Uh, so we're gonna move on to the second part of my interview, which is the pathway that you chose to move abroad.
Mhm.
Now, I'm assuming that you had the student visa to come to the UK, no?
That's correct. Yep.
So you eventually came for your master's, right? And what were the key steps that you really took to secure this opportunity? Like, so with this particular question, what I'm trying to ask is, how did you come about to know about the University of Nottingham or the marketing program that you did at the University of Nottingham? Uh, what was the whole process? How did you really come about it?
I think it took a lot of research, and I had to talk to a lot of people,
Mm,
especially consultants, and they would be very specific and try to push me in a certain direction that you should apply to these universities. But I think
mm,
even if you are talking to people and consultants, it's very important to do your own research and be very rigid about where you want to go, so that
mm,
they're not able to sort of push you in any other random university that's gonna pay them more commission and it'll be more
yeah,
beneficial for them.
yeah, yeah.
So you have to do your own homework. It's as simple as that. And then I shortlisted some universities. My budget was literally zero because I didn't have enough money to come to the UK
Mm,
anyway.
mm, mm,
So I applied to a really expensive university and then two really good Russell Group universities. And then I did a mid-tier kind of after 300 ranking universities, two of them, so
mm,
that if I'm
mm,
unable to afford the Russell Group ones, I'm able to
yeah.
come to the UK. And then it all depended on what university is going to offer me a scholarship. I got into all of the universities, but then University of Nottingham offered me a 50% scholarship through their Dean's
Okay.
Excellence Scholarship Program.
Oh,
So it
wow.
kind of made the decision for me. I didn't have to think too hard, and University of Manchester didn't offer me any scholarship, so it was just out of budget.
Right. So I didn't know you were actually here on a scholarship. That's amazing. So what was like the criteria for the scholarship? Like, was it based on academic performance back in your bachelor's? Was it based on your
I'm
professional
not sure
experience?
actually. There are, I think, two or three kinds of scholarships specifically for University of Nottingham. So one is Dean's Excellence, and we don't know what the criteria is. They just give you the scholarship or they don't. And the
Mm,
two other ones were, I think, the Great Scholarship. I didn't get that one. And then the Developing Solutions Scholarship, which a friend of mine got. And it's about you have to showcase that whatever course you're gonna pursue, you're gonna make your country better with that course.
okay.
Uh, I didn't get that one either, so I don't know
Mm,
on what basis I got it, but I was lucky, so good for
wow.
me.
Good for the University of Nottingham, actually, that they had you as a student. And now actually as an employee. So that was like a very good investment, you
Yeah.
know. That's a good ROI, actually. Um, right, right. So Perfect. I think we're going on a pretty good pace so far, because we've covered the first two sections.
Mhm.
That's
Maybe I'm
amazing,
a past
honestly.
speaker or something.
I don't know. This is so on point, you know. Right. So we're gonna move on to the third part of the interview, which is about the challenges and adaptation. Uh, and personally, I love this part. Uh, so what were the biggest challenges you faced during your initial days in the new country?
This is a very
कहाँ
difficult
कहाँ
question.
कहाँ से शुरू करूँ मैं यार?
लाइफ खराब हो गई, पूरी लाइफ खराब हो गई.
Yeah.
So basically, I was a very pampered, spoiled child. I didn't have to do any chores and anything.
Mm,
I was always earning my own money back in Pakistan from
mm,
a very young age, but then nothing else. I didn't need to do anything. I didn't need to pay the bills. It was just my own money, and everything was just like according to me.
yeah.
But then I had to come here. And then I had to come to my accommodation, and I just started crying because the room was so small and I couldn't
Mm,
find the light switch. So I called maintenance and I was like, I can't find the light switch. Where is it? I'm just
yeah.
going blind. And then they sent someone, and the guy was so kind, and he was like, oh, he just started showing me how to make the microwave work randomly because he could see that I was
Okay.
crying and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
scared.
yeah, yeah.
So the first few days or months were pretty difficult because when you're
Yeah.
not used to doing your own chores or just like I don't know how to cook. I don't know. I never really cleaned anything. So
Mm,
it just was an awakening and traumatic for me. The shift was uh,
mm,
major. And I think whoever is deciding to come, I'm not going to say that don't come.
mm,
You should definitely, but be prepared for the shift that is going to happen. You are going to be a changed person. It will be very difficult. It's not going to be easy. So,
mm.
yeah, that's my advice.
I think there should be like some realistic sort of an expectation setting for the people who are trying to move abroad because, uh, I mean, so the people who actually do live abroad outside of Pakistan, we have like two alternative lives going on. One is a real life and one is the Instagram life. And a lot of the times,
Absolutely.
people actually get so inspired or so impressed from the Instagram part of your life that they're like, oh,
Mhm.
everything is hunky dory. It's a bed of roses. It's going to be all fun
Yeah.
and games as soon as you land in the other country. And then as soon as you do land in another country, it's a completely different, strange place, especially England. I mean, let's talk about the weather, honestly, how depressing the weather
It's very
is over there.
depressing. I can't deal.
I miss the sun, honestly, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's been a long time since the last time I actually got some natural vitamin D. And coming from a country like Pakistan, or then there are people from India and South Asia, East Asia, there's a very huge shift in the weather. Uh,
Yes.
and that's just one of the things that you actually get to, like you have to get used to it. Okay, perfect. So now, so you came as a student. How did you really transition from university to a professional job?
Okay, so I worked a lot. I was trying to find a part-time and then I found one at KFC.
Mm,
And that wasn't a great experience because a spoiled child, I didn't know how to work, blah blah. We've done that.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the reality check was hard that oh, you need to be at front office, but then you also need to do the cleaning. And then there were days where I would come tired, exhausted, and
Mm,
my hands would just smell of bleach and I wouldn't even be able to eat my dinner because it was like I was so disgusted by the
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah.
So I knew that this wasn't it and I needed to find some other part-time. It was very nice that the university was offering a sort of a postgraduate placement.
Okay.
So I was able to secure 200 hours for that for a specific company, and it was funded by the university, and I was gonna get paid. So then I
Mm,
left the KFC gig.
mm, mm,
I'd pick up shifts from Stint, which is an app which helps the part-time workers. So whoever's coming, you can download that
mm,
if you
mm, mm,
need to have a backup. But then the university was my primary support. After those 200 hours, the company liked my work enough to extend it to another 200 hours, and then they eventually hired me part-time when once the project kind of finished.
mm.
I also applied to the university's disability support service. So I was
Okay.
providing note taking to students uh, and also mentorship opportunities. So anyone who was struggling, we would just schedule a session and I just talk
Mm,
them through the workload and how they can sort of manage it more efficiently and cut it into pieces and just adjust accordingly. So then, yeah, the part times. but primarily from the university. There's also Unitemps, so you can just, if you are coming and your university is on Unitemps, you can just
Mm,
make an account and then see what opportunities, be it a day shift, pops up. You can just apply right away if you are a student. So that supported me, and then I started applying for jobs. My primary goal was to secure a job, not a sponsored role, because I could see that not nobody was getting jobs anyway. It was very scary.
mm,
The job market was
mm,
scary, but it wasn't
mm,
really helping. So then I started working at Gloucester City Homes, which is a social housing organization, and I found that job through Bright Network. I
okay.
know a lot of people really like LinkedIn, but LinkedIn never really worked for me. I know for people it has, but not for me. So Bright
Mm,
Network is a good one, and then Student Circus advertises specially sponsored roles specific to accountancy and consultancy, that sort of a thing. If you are into that, what other website I use? And then Nottingham's career website was really helpful as well. It was I just did the filter of recently opened rather than about to close, because that increased my chances that I'll be the first resume that's gonna land
mm,
in
mm,
their inbox anyway.
mm,
And then I also optimized my resume for ATS. So one good website for that would be Resume Worded. That could help you. There are, I think, 3 or 4 uploads free, so you can make an account and you can upload and make edits and upload again. So that will help you
mm.
sort of streamline your resume, and it's free, again, another resource. And then after I started working at Gloucester, it was very nice, but it wasn't sponsored, so I kept looking and I wanted to get
Mm.
into university. So I just kept applying. And then on the 10th application of the University of Nottingham, where I was just about to give up and I didn't want to give that interview, I just went to the interview and I don't know what I said. I just, because I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm wasting my
Mm.
time. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna talk. And then they hired me. So
Very
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
eventful that was.
Uh, yeah.
And it wasn't even a role that I applied for. I applied for a communications officer, but then I got hired for digital marketing and campaigns officer. I got the choice to choose
Uh,
either communications officer, which was gonna be fixed term 1 year,
yeah.
or digital marketing and campaigns officer, which is gonna be a permanent sponsored role. So even though I liked the other position more,
Uh,
I went for the sponsored role because it would help secure my future and I could switch later on.
wow, that is so amazing. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing all of these websites, Bright Network, Student Circus,
Mm.
uh, because I think this is something I'm going to put specifically on the LinkedIn post that I'm going to use for this
Mhm.
interview, inshallah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Enza. And I hope you are liking your job so far, by the way.
It's nice. I like writing more, but the
Yeah.
people are very nice and they're so considerate, and they almost immediately made me feel like
Yeah.
I'm home. Although I do feel like there's a stark difference of working with a team that's primarily white, and then I'm unable to gel
Hmm.
as effortlessly with them as I would back home, because I had great work friends back in
Oh,
Pakistan,
you did. Yes. Yes. Yes.
always in
Yeah.
every role
Yeah.
that I did,
Yeah.
and I still
Yeah.
talk to them. I'm still friends with them.
Yeah.
But then here, it's just not happening for me. I'm trying, but it just isn't natural. So I'm not sure. But the people are nice.
That is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. And I think I should actually like try and gather Pakistani professionals and let's talk about how the work culture actually compares from Pakistan and over here. It would be a good idea actually.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the fourth part of the interview, which is about the current life and professional growth. Uh, so how does your life abroad compare to your life back in Pakistan?
Oh, I think it's very difficult and depressing and sad. And you said that Instagram life is very different from reality. People
Yeah.
who see my Instagram. And although I've given that disclaimer in my description that I don't look like this every day, but they still don't believe it. They just assume that I'm traveling
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah, yeah,
So that is just not true. There are days when there are good days and then there are bad
yeah,
days. But
yeah.
mostly it's just monotonous. And unless you actually make the effort to do something new every day, and even that exhausts you. So back home, it was almost like contentment, that I'm at peace. I have
Mm,
my family, they love me. Whatever is gonna happen,
mm,
even if my friends are fighting with me, I don't care about them enough. My family is gonna support me.
yeah.
But here it's like the people that I'm around, I have to be very careful walking on eggshells that, ooh, if this relationship goes sour, what am I gonna do? Because this is kind of my support system here.
Mm,
It's just a bit iffy, I would say.
understandable. Fair enough. Uh, okay, perfectly fine. And I think we have already spoken about the professional adjustments in the last part. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna move on to the last bit of my of this interview, which is on the advice and insights. Um, Anza, what advice would you give to Pakistanis aspiring to move abroad for similar opportunities?
It's not going to be easy. You have to be mentally prepared for that, but you will get through it.
Mm,
If somebody is coming to Pakistan and telling that it's going to be so difficult, you won't even be able to make it, that they're lying.
yeah.
You will eventually, because although you have to give a lot of interviews, apply to a lot of places, and the struggle is really hard to get through the
Mm,
entire process. I find that in Pakistan, the opportunities are even more limited. And even when I see my friends who want to come here and they're working in their respective roles and they're doing great jobs at great companies,
mm,
but somehow they still want to move here because I guess mental peace and safety, a lot of reasons. You can do it as long as you have a specific mindset that you are here to get things done, and not that, oh, I have a specific. I know a lot of friends who came here, partied, studied, and went back. That was their mindset. Good for them. They have
mm,
businesses back in Pakistan or India that they're gonna thrive on.
yeah.
But if you are someone who works 9 to 5 and wants a work life balance and wants some peace, just come here, but do your research. Talk to as many people as you can and don't give up. Just keep applying to different places and don't think, okay, so these are rejections, they're coming in my inbox and I'm so sad, I'm just gonna give up. That's not how it works. You
Mm,
have to keep going at it and eventually you will find your place.
amazing. Perfect. Uh, and
You
actually,
make me
based
sound like some
on
philosopher. Amazing,
no,
perfect.
no, because you are talking like real sense, and now I want to based on what you spoke about Pakistanis who come here and then they not just Pakistanis in fact people our age I would say who come here and they party and then they study and then they go back. Uh, I want to really talk about the Pakistani that you've come across in the UK. I can tell you for sure that when I moved to the UK, I barely had any Pakistani friends. I still don't have
Mhm.
many Pakistani friends. Of course, I know Pakistanis in the country. I try to link with them and try to connect with them. And it's always good. But a lot of the Pakistanis that I've come across in the UK, a lot of the students that I've come across in the UK, they tend to they really struggle from moving to a blue collar job or an odd job to a professional job. Why do you think that's the case? Is it because getting a job is increasingly getting harder day by day, or is it because there's a particular mindset that a lot of the students are in, and they just don't want to break the circle? They're too comfortable in their odd jobs. What do you think is the
No,
case?
I think that it's more specific to your experience and the location you're in, because you are living in London and it's wide and
Uh,
there are a lot of types of people. You're gonna meet a lot of them. In my case, I don't think I met enough people who would just be stuck at blue collar jobs and won't be able to get out of the cycle. Everyone, yeah, everyone I know, they've been able to secure a job, be it a good part time, a better part time, university related,
mm,
academic,
mm.
or be it a full time job, a sponsored role. Great a friend of mine just got promoted to a senior risk analyst and she just completed her master's. So they must
Okay.
have seen something in her to get that role
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah,
So I can't say anything about that because that's not been my experience anyway. But yes, it is very difficult to find a job because you are not only competing with people who've had the same qualifications and experience
yeah,
that you have,
yeah.
but somehow if they have UK experience, they're gonna be preferred more than just Pakistan's experience. even people with experience back in India are gonna be preferred over you. So
uh,
Pakistani especially have it harder because they're competing with so much. They're competing with better education, better countries, a lot of factors, a lot of better exposure.
uh,
So you have to really work hard, and I'm just happy for anyone who is able to secure a job after coming here because it's a huge deal.
Indeed, it is. It certainly is. And I think especially after the thresholds for sponsorships went up,
Yeah,
uh, it's getting increasingly harder day by day.
it is.
Um, right. Anza, I'm going to move on to the second question, and that is, are there any resources or networks that helped you during your journey that you would recommend? Your journey from back from Pakistan to the UK and the journey from your student life to your professional life.
Um, I applied through Aspire Consultancy and they didn't
Mm,
charge me. I don't know why they didn't charge me anything, but they didn't. So that was nice of them. That's how I got here. And then I've mentioned a few websites, but I think taking help regularly, be it in form of therapy, there are a lot of groups, social groups that you could join here in UK because you need to have some sort of a support system. Um, Whatever your hobbies are, you can just look it up that, oh, this is happening in my area. I
yeah.
just visit. It's important to be proactive at networking, especially when you're here. So
Yeah.
there weren't any specific resources, but the university really helped me a lot, be it with my career. They would just go through my resume, they'd provide me insights, be it taking counseling sessions when I was struggling. That was very helpful. So just if you are coming through a university, there are going
Mm,
to be support sources that are going to support your well-being,
mm,
your growth professionally, mentally, all of that. So you just need to be proactive yourself and look for those sources.
amazing. So essentially, we're talking about therapy. We're talking about it is very important to network. Uh, then following your hobbies, and then university well-being support. I think
Yeah.
every university over here has a lot of resources to offer. Uh, a lot of the students don't know about it.
Yeah.
They don't really try and explore what the university has to offer. But I mean, I know for a fact my university had a lot of resources that they offered. I know University of Nottingham has a lot of resources that they offer. And I think every student who comes to any country, be it the US, UK, or anywhere in Europe, they should get in touch with their university and
Yeah.
use the resources that they have to offer because they're paying
And
for it
even if you're
essentially.
not coming to a
Uh,
university and you are
uh,
not eligible for their support,
yeah.
you can just look it up online. There are always going to be sources, especially in UK, that you could join for free or at a
Mm,
subsidized rate if you do not have the money to pay, if you are newly coming with a limited amount of money.
mm.
Help is always available. You just need to look for it.
Amazing. Perfectly fine. Uh, I'm going to move on to the last question of this interview. And I personally love this question because everybody has a different answer. Uh, Anza, what's one key takeaway or insight from your overall experience that you would like to share?
I have no idea. I think I've mentioned it before as well that just don't give up and keep trying. Trying to build on yourself as a person, trying to build
Mm,
your network, trying to stay connected back home as well. Don't, yeah, I just think that not giving up, and even if it's very difficult, eventually you will get through this. So
mm.
the third is tawakkul, that if you have
Yes, yes,
tawakkul,
yes,
you will get
yes.
through it. And no matter where you are, you're meant to be there. And the struggles that you've had or you are having, it's meant to get you somewhere better. So yeah.
Absolutely. I can't stress enough on the tawakkul part. So you and I, we have been in touch for quite some time, and you know about the struggles that I
Yeah.
went through when finding a job, and I know about the struggle that you went through that you were finding a job. And I can promise you that it was so hard emotionally, physically, mentally, because you keep on questioning your abilities. You keep on questioning if you're good enough.
Yes.
Uh, you there's never really a day off. Even on your day offs, even when you're not officially working or studying, you're still trying to do something that could potentially improve your resume, that could improve your mental health, your physical health. Maybe every day you're just working on yourself.
Mm.
And tawakkul is one thing that really helps you go through all of this. Um, I mean, since we do have a lot of time, I would like to share. Uh, in last year, last Ramadan, uh, I went to Pakistan after almost 2 years, and before going to Pakistan, I was constantly applying for jobs. I was constantly trying to improve myself, and each and every time I would send an application, I would immediately get an unfortunately email. Like my inbox is full of unfortunately emails, and
You should just delete them. I never keep them. They're just so depressing. Just delete them
this
right away.
they're so depressing. They actually came a point where I was like, you know what? Okay, unfortunately, though, aate hi rehta hai, it's fine. I don't really care about it anymore. It's a part of life now.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I just went to Pakistan for about 4 weeks, and I did zero networking. I met, I didn't meet a lot of people. I just slept the whole time.
Mm.
And I was just using that time to regain
Heal almost.
energy, to heal, because you really need to heal. Because this experience of not just a Pakistani, but any international student who moves
Yeah.
to any other country, it's a very grueling process.
Yeah.
And
It's taxing.
it is taxing. And just imagine that when you move to a new country, it's not just you competing with a bunch of other locals. You're competing with people from essentially all around the world. For the UK, education is one of their most important
Yeah.
exports. And there's a lot of people from all over the world coming to the UK. It's a small, tiny island. There's limited amount of jobs, and the competition on those small jobs is insane. And you need to heal. And you mentioned about therapy, and you mentioned about university well-being support. Uh, it is so important. People need to heal. I mean, it's very, very important. Um, Anza, thank you so much for taking out the time to speak with me on this. I think this is going to be an amazing insight to the life as an international student and now as a professional in the UK. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who can definitely benefit from this.
Mhm.
Just to recap, Anza Fatma, Digital Marketing and Campaign Officer at University of Nottingham. Anza moved to England back in 2022 for her Masters of Science in Marketing from the University of Nottingham. So it's a complete full moment,
Yeah.
full circle moment. Anza, thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to add towards the end?
Not really. I've said a lot. I think I
Yeah,
should just.
yeah. Perfect, perfect. Anza, thank you, and hopefully speak to you very soon. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Cheers. Cheers. Bye.